But look out, Saginaw, here comes Leslie, a star.
That was News 25 Alive anchorman Glenn Pressgraves at WHAG-TV in Hagerstown, Maryland. For 10 months, Leslie Davis co-anchored the news at the East Coast TV station before hearing about a reporter job in, you guessed it, Saginaw, Michigan.
You heard you're going to go to Saginaw and Michigan. I mean, you knew where Michigan was, obviously, but...
Yes, I visited Ann Arbor once. I had a friend that went to University of Maryland, University of Michigan, but I have never heard of Saginaw. I did hear that there's an old country song that sings about Saginaw, but that's basically all I've heard about.
This was obviously going to be quite a learning experience for Leslie. After all, she'd never been to West Branch, or experienced the Potato Festival in Munger, or had chicken in Frankenmuth, or coney in Flint. Oh, sure, she's been around here for a few weeks, so she has been around a bit, like when I showed her some of northern Michigan's wildlife.
Oh gosh, yeah, the biggest surprise, I saw wild turkeys for my very first time, which was really interesting, and that was the boonies.
Oh, come on. West Branch is hardly the boonies. How much different could this be than Maryland?
It's much different than Baltimore, Maryland area. I think the biggest thing that I've come here, when I walked outside, I said, God, there's such a big sky here. In Maryland, it's very hilly and mountainous, and so you don't really get to see the sky, so it seems different here.
What have you seen so far? You've been here how long?
Well, I've seen Flint, which is really nice. Bay City is wonderful. I really like Bay City. Saginaw's nice. Detroit's different than what I expected. A lot of office buildings, but there wasn't much action there on the weekends. Had the opportunity to drive over to Windsor, which was really neat.
Is there anything you'd like to see? Is there anything you've heard of so far that you want to see?
Well, I would love to get more involved and see some of the more cultural side of theater and arts and things like that. I heard the Dell Gardens is a great place to go visit, and the Fox Theater in Detroit. I haven't really ventured out that much lately, and I've got to do more of that.
1, 2, 3.
As you can see, the energy level is high even before the reigning queen of talk shows makes her appearance. But when she does make her entrance, it's welcomed with cheers, applause, and lots of smiles. As Oprah says, you get what you see, and that's what makes her so special in the eyes of her fans. So many can relate to Oprah because she's made her hardships public, which allows others to know they're not alone.
The whole idea of being famous was not something that I ever entertained. I just wanted to do good, to do well with my chosen profession, which chose me. I didn't choose it. I started in television because somebody called me from college and asked, was I interested? I was already on the radio, and I was just doing radio as a way to get myself through school. So when the local news director for the CBS affiliate in Nashville called me and said, are you interested in doing TV? I said, well, I don't know.
You think he should be out of jail? I think for the crime you got to serve what you need to do, whatever.
Each day, Oprah can be seen in 15 million living rooms around the world, and it's very apparent that she has the knack for touching the lives of her loyal viewers.
Do whatever you want me to do.
Oprah is a survivor. Her childhood was a disturbing one. It was filled with emotional and sexual abuse. But she says those horrifying experiences helped make her what she is today.
Life experiences and challenges are really just to teach you. I mean, I wish that is the lesson that I try to give every day on the show, is that all the stuff that happens to you, crises is to get your attention. That life is about what you can learn from the experience. That it's not there to personally make you feel bad about yourself.
But that theory wasn't easy for Oprah to digest. She says it took her a long time to grasp that the abuse wasn't her fault, which is very common among sexually abused children.
I was more interested in protecting the abuser than protecting myself. And for years I could speak about it, go to Congress, talk about it, speak for the rights of other children, but somewhere deep inside myself felt that I had been responsible.
And because of that dark cloud hanging over Oprah's young, fragile life, it put a huge dent in her self-esteem. Oprah says it took her years for her to learn how to love and even like herself.
I'm telling you, I am now in love with the little child. I am now in love with her. I used to not like myself. I used to not like the way I looked. I used to hate my nose. I used to hate my face. I used to hate everything about myself.
Do I look 40?
No.
That sad little girl has come a long way, but her megastar status hasn't gotten in the way of what's still near and dear to her, and that's being the best that she can possibly be.
Success has nothing to do with curing whatever the inner part of you is scarred. What success does is it masks it and makes you think for a while that you're cured. But, you know, the true healing that comes from each human being recognizing that I am somebody all by myself, that my life unto itself is a life that is valuable and worth living.
I'm going to take you in like 4 different rivers tonight and explain a little bit and things like that. If I talk too much, just tell me and I'll be quiet.
It's the perfect night, temps in the 80s, but a cooling breeze is blowing. Johnny Panther Quest is about to shove off and show off an area treasure. The wildlife couldn't wait. Before the trip left the marina, a great blue heron stood watch. As a kid, Will Houghton explored the Shiawassee Flats by foot. Then he tried it by boat.
When I was about 15, I hooked up with a flat-bottom John boat again for my dad, and I brought a 3-horse motor back from New England that was my grandpa's. And we spent the next 5 years exploring every river, ditch, creek, and bayou out here. I'd heard so much negative about Saginaw and Flint, you know, there's nothing to do around here, and I'm like thinking, you're just looking in the wrong spots. You want to see some beautiful stuff, you know, just you take a 15-minute ride outside of town and you're like in the Everglades of Florida minus the alligators and poisonous snakes. We'll go into stealth mode now.
So Will turned his passion into a second job, one that he'd like to make full-time. Trips run around 4 to 5 hours and cost $100 for a couple. Psychologists don't come that cheap.
Isolation, the beauty, the peace, the abundance of wildlife. You come out here, at least for me, it's like recharging my batteries, and it's like that for a lot of people. They're amazed that 15 minutes from town, we're having eagles drop out of the trees over the boats, flocks of ducks and geese by the hundreds, beaver swimming right next to the boat so close that when they slap, they splash you. It's just an incredible feeling.
They're hot, and they're only getting hotter. Members of Verve Pipe have been making music together for 5 years, and now they're starting to see and hear the fruits of their labor come alive.
I won't be held responsible. She fell in love in the first place.
Drummer and songwriter Donnie Brown began his musical career in Saginaw.
It's tougher than it looks. It's not an easy thing to be away from anything that you know as home. I guess drive is it. You have to really just want it and do your thing. Be sincere about it.
He says it's an incredible feeling hearing your music on the radio as well as turning on the tube and catching your video. But Donnie feels he and his band still have a ways to go.
I'm really fortunate to be playing with the people that I play with. If you come and see our band, I think that you're going to be impressed and be moved by the music. You'll be impressed by every single one of the musicians.
Verve Pipe begins its U.S. tour on Wednesday, and they plan on being on the road through September. Although Donnie is modest about the band's success, fans can't seem to get enough.
I have a lot of friends in Saginaw who are still playing music, and I'm just one of them. I really am.